Hi guys, Mama Deb here once again. Today we're gonna go Greek and we're making Spanakopita. Opa! Okay, here is the goodie bag that we have for today's recipe. As usual, there's not too many ingredients, all fresh. And this is something that is gonna be delicious. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is slice up our onion. We're gonna do it thin first, so I'm gonna use this to start it off, make life easier for me. But if not, just chop it thin. Kind of cheating, in my goodie bag, I showed you a nice fresh onion, but I have half of a red onion and some of a white onion in my fridge, so I'm just gonna use those up, and I'm gonna use whatever onion you need to use. One. Okay, this is about 60 seconds later, no joke. All these nice thinly sliced onions. Now I'm just gonna chop them up into little bits, but having this sliced up thin really helps out, starts the process, makes cooking easier. Buy one of those things. Seriously, trust me. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is chop up the fresh parsley and the fresh dill. I actually have to use a knife. Chop this stuff up because it's gonna go into our spinach. Fresh is the way to go. I'm gonna say this all the time. If you can use fresh herbs instead of dried or freeze dried, go for it. It makes a big difference. It really does. And I guess I should mention, how much are we using? I just got a thing of parsley that you buy, one of the bunches at the store, and then one of these pre-packed little dill things. So whatever's in here, what's it say? This one's got 0.75 ounces. Just keeping it simple. Make it this way. If the next time you make it, you say, gosh, I wish it would have had less dill, or I wish it would have had more parsley. Well, then do it. But for ease and sake of, whatever, this is just easy. One dill, one bunch. I also have now the onions that I have chopped up, and I put some olive oil in here. I'm gonna cook these low and slow. Because the reason is it's going to kind of caramelize the onions, make them a little bit sweeter, and that's what you're going for in the Spanakopita. So this is going to take just a while. Again, just going to let it cook low and slow. Be back. Okay, the onions are looking nice. They're just translucent. Let them cook. I don't know, they've probably been in this pan about 10 minutes or so, just kind of low. And now I'm going to add 16 ounces of thoroughly washed spinach into the pan. And we're just gonna, pretty easy, add it into the pan. So spinach is pretty bulky at the beginning. For those of you who have not cooked with fresh spinach, sometimes it can't all fit into the pan at once. So it cooks down really quick. So what I've been doing is just putting some in, stirring it around, throwing a little bit more in, till it all cooks down. Okay, now that I've got the spinach in there, I'm gonna add in my dill and parsley. Just plopping it right into that pan. Gonna let that all cook together. Then I'm gonna take, a little salt and pepper, because isn't that what we do with everything, people? How much? Little salt, little pepper. Always a fan of, don't overdo it with your first spices that you put in your pan. Reason is you can always add, but you can't take out, good tip. So just put a little bit in. I'm gonna let this cook. I'll taste it a little bit later. Okay, so I took the stuff out of the pan. This is just the spinach and the onions and the dill and the parsley and a little bit of salt and pepper, all cooked in olive oil. And now I have it in a strainer because, as you can see how it's dripping out there? This is exactly what we want to have happen. And the reason we want this is the phyllo dough. We want it to be nice and crispy and crunchy. So we're gonna drain everything. I'll probably press down with a spoon on this too to try to get out as much liquid as possible because we want it to be a little bit, dry. it'll still be tasty, but not drippy. So I let this sit over the strainer in the pan, I don't know, for probably 10 minutes. Gave it a chance to cool down a little bit, and then look at all the liquid that drained out of this. Pro cooking tip, this here is spinach and parsley and dill and onions and a little bit of olive oil. I'm gonna put that in a baggie, stick it in a freezer, and make this as an addition to future soups or any other recipe that I've got going on, because it's great. It's flavor that you've made. Bam! Now I've got a block of feta cheese. You can get the crumbled if you want. Doesn't really matter. You can add as little or as much as you want. I don't know why I like to get maybe the big blocks. Maybe it's because I'm a bit of a control freak and I like to be in control of the size of my feta. But I like to just cut it into little blocks. This doesn't affect the recipe at all. This is just my Debbie. This is the way I like it. So if you don't want to do this and you prefer to get like a thing of the crumbled, do it. Whatever makes you happy. But there we go. And now the control freak in me is like satisfied. I cut it up myself. Didn't take that long, but again, that's just me. So I've got the feta in the bowl with the cheese, or the feta with the cheese, with the spinach and the onions and all that stuff. Now I'm gonna whip up 2 eggs. The 2 eggs are gonna make it stick a little bit more. And then I'm gonna drop in a little bit of lemon juice, just because I like it really lemony. No big deal. So this would be, if I stir this up and I put this in here, that is going to be your traditional Spanakopita, because Spanakopita is a spinach and feta pie. But because I've decided to try something different, I have made, I got ground lamb yesterday and I marinated it. I put onions and garlic and some cinnamon and oregano in the meat, and I let it sit overnight with some olive oil. I fried it up this morning, and then I let it drain too, because I don't want to have the grease or anything. You know, you want it to stay dry and crispy. I'm adding this to it for protein. This does not make it Spanakopita. This is Spanakopita. This is Debbie trying something new. So I'm going to drop that in. If you want to try it, do it. Oh, cinnamon. I put cinnamon in the meat too. That's a real Mediterranean thing. It does add just a huge difference. It's a good flavor. So I'm gonna stir this up and mix this up, and I'll be back. Okay, now that it's mixed up, this is the point that you should do a little taste test. See if you want to add more to it. Do you want a little bit more salt? Do you want a little bit more pepper? Now the feta cheese does bring a lot of salt into it. Excuse me, I'm not a real big salt person, but I did add just a little bit more salt, and I added just a little bit more pepper to it. I also put in a little bit of hot pepper flakes, just because I like things to have just a little bit of a kick. That is not part of the real recipe. So, you know, do it, don't, whatever. But right now, this is the mixture. It's got the meat, it's got the spinach and the onions and all the good stuff, the cheese. The garlic I put into the meat itself. Typically, Spanakopita isn't really a garlicky type thing. It's more of a dill and a feta and a spinachy kind of thing. So do what you want to. Now you can make your own phyllo dough or phyllo dough, whatever you call it, but I'm not gonna go there. So I buy this pre-packaged stuff. It comes with 2 rolls in it. Follow the directions, put it in the refrigerator at least 24 hours so it can thaw that way. And then once you open this thing up, I put some parchment paper down here. I have a nice little damp rag. I'm gonna open it up, put the damp rag on top of it, because this stuff is so thin, it dries out super quick, and you wanna keep it moist as you're starting to make your Spanakopita. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do, I've got some olive oil over here. Just gonna take a little olive oil, put it at the bottom of the pan, all sides, kind of a nice thin layer. If you've never dealt with phyllo dough before. It's wonderful. It's a nice crispy little Mediterranean treat. So here I go. I'm gonna take, what you have to do with these things, they're super thin sheets. They may split and tear. You take one at a time. Look how thin these things are. Lay it in your pan. As you lay it in your pan, you also want to take a little bit of olive oil, brush it in between the layers. This is going to help it get crispy. Now this stuff will like rip and tear a little bit because it is so fragile and it's so thin, and it always makes me nervous doing this. I'm going to put about 5 or 6 down here at the bottom. Look, I can't even think while I'm doing this because I get so nervous with this. I don't know why. It's really just a little bit of oil on a little bit of stuff, and I should just relax and not take it a big deal, but it's a big deal. So I'm gonna go do this. Couple layers, olive oil, probably 5 or 6 layers. I'll be back. Okay, so here's a few layers with the olive oil. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting in the meat and the cheese mixture and the spinach. Okay, I've put about half of the meat over the phyllo dough, and now I'm gonna put another 5 or 6 sheets with oiling every sheet in between. If you haven't noticed, my phyllo has been sitting here under a damp towel. This is so it keeps it again moist while I'm doing all this other stuff because it does dry out fast. It's super, super thin. Okay, layer 2's done with the phyllo, and now I'm gonna put the remainder of the spinach on top of that. Okay, now I'm gonna put the rest of the dough on top. Okay, this is what it looks like right now. Now I'm gonna score it. You wanna score it with a knife, a sharp knife, so it goes about halfway down. You don't wanna cut it all the way through. And the reason that you wanna do that is because this stuff, again, is so flaky and so crispy. When it comes out of the oven, it's gonna be hard to cut without cracking it. So if you score it so it's got the lines in it already, it's gonna make your life easier. Okay, so I have scored it so it has the little triangles in it. And then I put a little border around it because I did look up. I'm like, what's a cute way to score your Spanakopita? And they said, oh, this would be a cute way. Go diagonals, put a border. So I did. Now my oven has been on at 350 degrees. I'm gonna pop it in the oven for about an hour. I think the recipe is like an hour, hour, 15 minutes, but I'm gonna check it in about an hour, see how everything's looking. Okay, this has been in the oven for an hour at 350 degrees. This is all crispy crunchy. Gonna let it sit here and cool because I'm gonna follow instructions with this one, and I'm gonna let it cool before I cut into it. You can hear everything bubbling inside, so this would, you know, burn my mouth, but you can see how the scoring helps. This way, when I'm ready to cut this stuff, it'll just come out pretty easy out of the pan. It's the moment of truth, guys. Time to cut this baby up. So I've left this here cooling for 20 minutes. Here we go. This still looks beautiful. I'm going to cut it into the little score place that said it was going to make it easier. That was pretty easy. Taking a little. Now the thing is the first piece always comes out. Oh, but it's coming out. But still, I did lose a little of the base. Hang on, I'm not gonna lose anything. Taking it off. I don't care. This is why it's called unedited. Because guys, you know what? If you were in my house and this happened, it's exactly what I would do. Yeah, I licked my fingers in. Not cooking though. All right, here we go. This is it. I need to get a fork so I can take a bite. Okay, here goes the bite. Delicious. This is all crispy, crunchy. The lamb's really good in there as well. Adds a little extra zhuzh to the Spanakopita. Got my layers, got my spinach. The flavor is absolutely delicious. This is gonna be what I'm eating all week. So, it'll be delicious. Give it a shot. Again, pretty easy, really quite affordable, delicious. Enjoy. Okay, we'll call this just rolling the credits so I can give you a better look at a piece that was really cut, because I am having another piece. See, it's lovely. Got the big old chunks of cheese. Got my lovely crust. Delicious. Yum!